Yo, 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 yo. What's up, dialoguers? It's your boy, Mind Dialogue, back once again, sharing info for you to comprehend. And before you know it, you'll start to ascend. What's going on, good peoples? Wanted to check in with y'all. This is a little after market opens, 10:24 a.m. August 7th. Please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. Support your boy if you want to continue seeing this content, getting some gems, some information to help you with your trading/investing. Hit me up via email if you want a free private session or just a thought partner to go through some of the things you're thinking regarding trading and investing. Email is minddialogue.business@gmail.com. So, I wanted to give y'all an update regarding what's going on. We did an analysis early in the morning around, I believe it was around 1 or 2 a.m. And so I'm glad I was able to get up early enough to be able to do my pre-market kind of assessment and prepare myself for the trade that I wanted to get in. And so I was able to, so as I expected right now, so price action just hit the profit target that I really wanted to take, but they were kind of stalling out and playing around with some shenanigans, and I didn't know if they wanted to go against me to get more liquidity, so I sold off and took profit. I have no issues with that these days, especially when I'm trying to grow my account, preserve capital, and I'm okay with losing. It's more difficult when you're trying to preserve and grow capital, so you got to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more stingy. You got to take your profit when it's there. You can't be like, oh, I'm just going to hold, especially if you're trading one contract. So I just sold off. It was a good place for me. And so before I jump into things, let's see here. Let me see if I can, as my computer always goes slow, like goes slow at first. And then once it gets used to me doing the video, it starts moving properly. So let's see what happened here. I don't want to do all. Let's do. Come on, this thing goes so slow, yo. Let's go today. Today's range or date range. So I got in a little too early. I wouldn't say a little too early. I just got in where I wanted to get in at. And let me see what's going on with the price action right now. So, here, I'll talk about that in a second. But I got in where I saw there was a key break. There was some confluence of like trend lines and an important level. And so I wanted to enter there. They took their time with the move, but I was able to get in, get out at a decent amount of time. So I got in at 9:46 a.m. Ended up getting out at not about 5 minutes ago at 10:22 a.m. So what is that? 14 plus 22. So trade took about 36 minutes. And let's see, how much was that? The cost of my contract was $81. I got out at 103, so that's a little over, what's that, 22. So I got a little over, I would say like 25%. which is not bad for me these days. I like that 20% range and up. I really like that range. So, and this is my third straight day grabbing a win. So I'm happy with that, right? The analysis is paying off. The execution's paying off. Even if I may like get in the wrong direction, I'm cutting losses at a decent place and then hopping in the right direction if need be. So let me just give you a quick update on like what's going on, where I entered, why I entered, all that stuff. So excuse me. So we had this channel here. Let me make this a little bit thicker. Let's make that bigger here. All right, so yesterday, just to kind of give context and like how things played out, we essentially entered this channel yesterday pre-market. They dipped below it for a manipulation, then they popped back inside of it. You know, they're manipulating below and above it slightly, but for the most part, they respected the channel and essentially they were ping-ponging inside of it. In my previous video, I showed you, the head and shoulders of what I was looking at. I'm going to take a lot of this off in a moment just to reiterate that head and shoulders. But basically, we're operating inside of this ascending channel going up to the right here, right? And we popped out of it, really creating a head of this bigger head and shoulder that I'll show you in a moment. I was able to create, down here, I was able to create some trend lines and channels and things like that to help frame out the trade and help me with where I was going to enter. And so what was interesting is last night or early in the morning, we talked about, okay, we had popped above like a key level, like basically the top of like the end of a measurement, and we were getting support off of it. And so that propelled us higher. And as you can see in pre-market, we gapped up again, right? Once pre-market happened, we gapped up, pushed higher. And if you remember, this level right here that I pointed out to you on the 21 minute, it was a August 5th high, that sore thumb of a candle that I talked about previously. So let me go on the 21 minute real quick. Hopefully it'll take. So it landed right on there. Look at this candle right here. This thing is bonkers. Let me go ahead and highlight it real quick for you so you can see what the top wick of this candle looks like and how big it was or how long it was to the upside. It's crazy. So this is how long. Let's do this right here. This is how much wick of a candle this was. We're going to take off the extension to the right. And so let's change this color. We'll change it to yellow. No, let's change it to a darker color so y'all can see it better. So that blue area, that's how much, that's them entering the market. So that was a $6 clear move that they made in, I believe it was pre-market when we opened yesterday. And so this is them entering the market, putting supply back on the market, creating selling pressure, allowed us to push down. Once we had enough supply in the market, they can buy up the rest of their order, which then, creates this pressure for demand, pushing us up. People are tagging along, so we moved up. But this key area here, so that high was a key area, and it was also on the context of a bearish fair value gap on the 21 minute over here, this red area. So So let me make this a little darker so you can be able to see. It's pretty dark, but that's fine. So that red area, right, that was a bearish, this is basically a supply area, meaning this is where they sold off a ton previously, and it's on the context of this insanely crazy high that we made on the cusp of them coming into the market. So in my mind, I knew at minimum, even if we were going to break this and go higher, we were going to get some type of temporary reprieve or sell-off or retracement or reversal, whatever you want to call it. We were going to get some resistance here because there is more than one variable working together to give me that confirmation. This insanely crazy high off of them entering the market here, and this bearish fair value gap, which was on the cusp of us getting sent down. This happened up here at 637. This sent us all the way down to 620. So I knew it was going to be a key area. And look what happened. Currently today, now mind you, I'm on the 21 minute. And so what happened was in pre-market, they gapped up, right? We gapped up. They went up into the area, right? Manipulated and closed above it, right? That entry model that we like. So the line is actually right here at like 637.12. It created the entry model that we like. Now, it happened in pre-market. That's the slick stuff they like to do. They allow things to happen in pre-market to where retail traders like you and I, who can't participate in that options trading, because you can't do options trading in pre-market like that. They did it to where we couldn't participate on an entry model like this. So they closed above the level. So you could enter right there, or you could wait for the high to get swept. It's safer to enter once we close above the level. You're not experiencing that much drawdown. And then we get this beautiful reversal, right? So let me make this slider again. Make that lighter so I can give you context on what happened. So now, leading in today, I was able to identify this particular descending channel, and it essentially created a so I've been saying some things in the past where I try to distinguish between like a channel and a wedge. A channel is a channel until you add, in my mind, some type of trend line that creates a wedge, right? So when I just create these two parallel descending green lines, it's just a channel until, like, for example, the top part and this top of this other channel, right, created by these parallel ascending green lines, they converge or they come together to create a wedge, right? And so once they cross over here, you create essentially like a triangle, and to the right corner, it's really tight in that triangle, and what's going to happen is we're going to squeeze out of there to break out either to the upside or downside. You can see they try to manipulate above here a couple different times before making the move down, and that's what they like to do. They like to do manipulation or some type of like burst psychological move that'll throw you off from what your analysis is. And so what I've been doing a pretty good job of, especially lately, is sticking to what my analysis is and just identifying the area that I plan to get out if it gets breached. And so I had the smaller channel here. They manipulated out of below and above it a couple times, started manipulating above it here. I made this black trend line from the highs that we made in pre-market down to a more recent high that we made slightly after opening. And that was basically like my parameter of like, okay, if we break above that, if we clear that high, and especially if we clear that level, which was a measurement end for me that I used to create my levels, that August 25th high in the top of that bearish fair value gap, or the beginning of it, if we were to clear and close above that, I would have got out of it, probably would have got out of got out of it earlier once we closed above this black trend line. So that was my last resort. If price closed above here, I would have got out here. But you see, we respected it and started selling off there, right? And we got a, nice little beautiful move down. If you're entering, let's say off of the, once we hit the trend line, you're talking 636.83 down to the profit area that I had of 633.36. So you're talking about like, $3 and like almost 50 cents. So that's a nice move. It's a really nice move. So let's take some of these off. So, because I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna tell you what I detected in terms of a smaller head and shoulder pattern on the cusp of a bigger head and shoulder pattern. So let's see if we can. What I'm gonna do is, let's see here. I'm on the 5 minute. Let's go back on the 21 minute. Let me see if this gives me what I'm looking for. Let's see here. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take this. I'm gonna take off these drawings for now, and then I'll put them back on once I show you what I want to show you. So again, these head and shoulder patterns have been helping me tremendously because they really show me the context of the moves I want to make. So let me see how much time we got. 14 minutes. So I was paying attention to, a couple different head and shoulder patterns. You really got to pay attention as well to when these patterns are finishing. So this is not gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna just show you, I was paying attention to, this was a bigger head and shoulder pattern that I was following here, right? We'll make that darker. So this was a bigger head and shoulder pattern that I was following. Let's pull this down to here so it mimics it. And so this was the bigger pattern that I was looking at first, right? Where you had this, no, that's not what I want. We had the left shoulder right here. We had this left shoulder, and then you had this right shoulder. So what that told me is, and then you got your head here, down here. So this was like an inverse head and shoulder. So what this told me is, now what's interesting and what I'm trying to study is, typically when you have the right shoulder lower than the left shoulder, that means we're gonna come down. But because it's an inverse head and shoulder, I knew that we were gonna get support in this head portion here, which we did right here, right? So we already got support on this bigger head and shoulder. So this pattern was essentially done, right? That head and shoulder pattern's done. Let me show you what else. Another one that I was paying attention to. I was paying attention to, let's see here. I was paying attention to this one as well. Let's see. Essentially like this right here. Boom. All right, I was paying attention to this where you got your head right here, right? This is your more normal head and shoulder. You got your why do I keep choosing this? You got your left shoulder right here. And then you got your right shoulder here, right? Left shoulder. Now this, for your more normal one, this truly is going to send us up because, all right, you got your head here, right? Your left shoulder is lower than your right shoulder. That means we should be going up. And so we should be coming back into this head area to get support, which right now we're doing, like literally in this head area. And so we're getting support there, right? So this pattern finished. So we got two head and shoulder patterns that essentially finished, right? And so I'm going to show you the more recent one that I was looking at. And that was, let's see here. The more recent one I was looking at was this right here. I was looking at this right here. Hold on. No, not that. I was looking at, let's see. I was looking at, let's see how I want to draw this. We're gonna go, let's see. I was looking at this right here. Let's see, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it properly. No, that's not what I wanted. Let me make sure. I was also looking, okay, I think I see it. I was looking at this. I just want to draw it properly. There we go. I just got to figure out how I'm doing it. I'm not getting it the way that I want to. Because essentially what I'm trying to do here is, maybe I need to take this out of it. There we go. I think this is it right here. Okay, let's do that. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to show you the context of what I'm looking for. So, yeah, it was this right here. It was essentially, like this. There we go. There we go. There we go. And then we'll finish this like this on this side. All right, cool. So I was also looking at this head and shoulder where you got your head down here, right? And your shoulders right here. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but I just want to show you the visual. Right, left shoulder's lower, right shoulder's higher. We should be going up, coming down in the head here somewhere. And even if, like, let's say we were to put a trend line, it helps create a visual, right? Where you can see support. Look at that. You see that? You got support right there on the cusp of those shoulders, or in an inverse head and shoulder. It kind of looks like an armpit in a way, right there. See there? So when you can start visualizing these, it really helps with context. So I was looking at that. All right, now let me go back. Go all the way back, put all my stuff back on. Sorry for all the clicking, y'all. It's the quickest way that there we go. All right, so now let's go back down to the 5 minute, make sure we got enough time left. 7 minutes left. All right, cool. So now we go back on the lower time frame now on the 5 minute, and I'm gonna tell you what I was looking at as a smaller head and shoulder. So we also have this right here. This is also a bigger head and shoulder that I see in this frame on this 5 minute, right? You got this right here. So essentially, we've just made the head right now, right? So that means, and we hit the bottom of that green channel. So that means we should do something like this, right? Something like this probably, and then pop back up to go higher, where you got this big head here, right shoulder is higher, right? And they got support right here, but we're coming down lower. you know. Let's see what these contracts are looking like. Ooh, these contracts are looking nice now. I didn't want to wait for that move though. That's the thing. When you have capital to kind of add, discretionary capital that you don't mind either losing, or you can be patient. Or let's say I had two contracts, which I could have done, but that's also another thing I'm trying to work on is, sticking to one contract, which by default minimizes my risk and leverage and all that stuff, right? And not feeling like I need to add contracts even when the price is cheaper or whatever. So you got that bigger head and shoulder, but now this is what I was looking at and what I saw to help me determine or feel confident and have a high probability that we're going to come down. It was, and I see these a lot. You have like this really offset diagonal, like really crazy to the side head and shoulder pattern, right? Off of the cusp of this black descending trend line that caught the highs in pre-market and a couple highs that we made once market opened. And this is what I saw. Let's see here if I can catch it. We had, I'm gonna go with, let's go here. We had this right here. All right. Basically something like this, because this is where that high was, and then you got this dump. So you got your head right here, right? Let's change that color. You got your head right there. And what I saw was our left shoulder was all the way up here. I already knew we made these highs, had the trend line on the cusp of that. We're already operating inside of this channel. And this essentially is like an M pattern to come down. So you had a couple different things we could have identified. And so we have this right shoulder that came down hard here to the right. And that's what I was looking for the dump. They tried manipulating a couple times, right? Above that green, that smaller green channel, as you can see. They manipulated a bunch above here, but we had the bigger black trend line created off of the highs that we made as the final trap to let us know if they were truly coming down. They rejected off of it beautifully. And so, what would have changed my bias and made me start thinking about getting out of the move is if we broke above this black channel and closed on it, let's say convincingly a couple times on the lower time frames. I wouldn't want to wait to see if it closed a couple times on, like, let's say the 5 minute, because they might make an aggressive move above it and I wouldn't be able to preserve as much capital. So that's what happened, folks. Got a nice trade. We're on a 3-day win streak right now, which is cool. But what I'm more so grateful for is the analysis of A, this head and shoulder pattern that's coming out to be paramount. B, the trend lines and channels that we're creating. C, the important levels for value gaps, volume imbalances, and things like that, to all come together to help us create context of what will potentially be happening in the market. And if something doesn't happen according to what our assessment was and what we like, then we get ready to get out of the move and just take the loss and learn from what went wrong, or just, what made our bias change, and then we reassess from there. So I appreciate y'all as always. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let's get some engagement. Let me know what else you would like me to look at. Maybe there's some other things you're seeing in the videos that you want me to dive a little bit deeper into. Support the Cash App, money sign MINEDIALOGUE. Hit me up via email is minddialogue.business@gmail.com. Again, I was able to get into the move. And so the last piece that I'll say is this circle area right here, this was my entry area, right? We came down at first. I entered. Once we broke it, closed below here a couple times on a 5 minute, they manipulated back up one last time. And then they pushed, once they pushed down again and broke it, that let me know we were coming down. So that was a nice entry area. And again, you're noticing a pattern. Why did I choose this entry area? A, we're coming on the structure break. You can look at this whole thing as like a big triangle, and we're at the base of the triangle here, right? And we had the top of this green trend line, which was also the top of the channel, right? We had this bottom of the smaller channel descending. We got the bigger channel ascending, going up, smaller channel going down. Where they cross that, I struck a line through, so that's a nice confluence right there, right? And we're below this 21-minute discount entry level, which let me know, again, that could be your entry model again. I wasn't paying attention fully to that, but that could have really been my entry model. I would have caught a better entry where we close above the discount level. I get in on the close or wait for the sweep. That's my entry. And then we come down. We're coming down beautifully right now as I speak. But that's it, folks. I appreciate y'all. Contract's probably almost $150. But remember, I appreciate everything you do. Have a great day on purpose.